What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Now, Russia is evacuating hundreds of thousands of people here in Ukraine over a possible nuclear explosion that is about to happen here. We're talking about a lot of people. This comes as they're also doing another massive attack over the capital city of Kyiv here right now. And this kind of begs the question here is that what have they done? Are they doing another Chernobyl type incident? Has it already begun? What are they doing? Take a listen here.
Russia has begun to evacuate citizens from 18 settlements within southeast Ukraine due to an increase in violence near Europe's largest nuclear power plant. Meanwhile, Russia claims Ukraine tried to kill Vladimir Putin with a drone attack. The war in Ukraine is heating up as spring arrives in Eastern Europe. Robert O'Brien is a former national security advisor, and he joins us now. Welcome to you, Ambassador. What do you make of this alleged drone attack or assassination attempt, as Russia calls it?
Well, I'd be surprised if this was an actual Ukrainian attack. It's very inconsistent, Trey, with how the Ukrainians have fought the war so far. First of all, they've always fought to regain Ukrainian territory, and if they've hit anything in Russia, it's been on the border, logistics dumps, ammo plants, that sort of thing. So they haven't gone to Moscow or those sorts of adventures. But secondly, when the Ukrainians have done something big, whether it was taking out the Russian battleship or going after the Kerch Bridge, they've been pretty effective. And this drone attack looks small. The Kremlin, as you know, is a big campus. There's no evidence that this small drone was going to hit a section of the Kremlin that would have actually hurt Vladimir Putin. So my guess is this was a false flag operation by the Russians to try and gin up support for the war prior to the expected spring offensive of the Ukrainians. My guess is it'll be launched very soon.
All right, Ambassador, in a region of the world that gave us Chernobyl, how worried should we be about a nuclear incident as a byproduct of this war?
Look, I think we should be very worried, Trey. The plant is one of the largest plants in the world. I think it's the largest plant in Europe. There will be fighting near the plant. The fact that the Russians are evacuating citizens and civilians from the area tells me that they expect the Ukrainians to make advances in that region, and we've got to make sure that there's not a Russian effort to sabotage the plant or to destroy the plant on the way out, on their way out. I think the Ukrainians have an opportunity to be successful in this spring offensive. We'll see. The Russians are wily and they're tough and they're smart. They learn from their mistakes in past wars, and they'll probably learn from last year and do a better job with their opposition to the Ukrainian advance. But we need to make sure that nuclear plant's not destroyed or sabotaged as they retreat.
Ambassador, I want to let you listen to something, and I'll ask you a question on the other side.
Let's not lose the bigger picture here. It's not like Mr. Putin has to invent new reasons to kill innocent Ukrainians. He keeps doing it over and over and over again. Now, whether he's going to use this as some sort of pretext is up to him.
You mentioned it. Ambassador John Kirby just mentioned it. I mean, is Putin trying to rally support at home by claiming he was the target of an assassination plot? Is that your best sense of what happened?
You know, I don't find myself agreeing with John Kirby all that often, but it looks like we're on the same page tonight. I think he's probably right. I think they know the spring offensive is coming. They know it's going to be rough. The Russians may be able to hold out and hold some land, but I think the Ukrainians are going to make advances. They've been bold and daring in this war so far. And I think that this was probably an effort to gin up some public support and some sympathy for the Russian war effort, which otherwise should be incredibly unpopular, given the limited gains that the Russians have made and given all the Russian dead that have come home from this war. So I think Kirby's probably right in this case.
What should we expect to see with this offensive now that spring has hit Eastern Europe? What should we be on the lookout for?
Well, look, the Ukrainians have a lot of new weapons, and it's supplied in large part by the American taxpayer. So, this is something that we've been on the front lines supporting democracy in Ukraine and supporting the Ukrainian sovereignty against the Russians. It's been good for us because it's degraded the Russian forces dramatically and probably eliminated Russia as a conventional threat to Europe. And so the Ukrainians are ready to roll. But again, what I've said before is that the Russians are, every war the Russians have had, whether it was with Hitler or Napoleon or Sweden before that, They've done poorly at the beginning, but they've learned from their mistakes. So we'll see if the Russians can repeat the history and learn from their mistakes the past couple of years and put up a better defense. But we'll have to see. But I think the Ukrainians may make some impressive gains here soon.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you can see here, mad panic ensues as Russian forces evacuate the area around the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. I believe, yeah, also it's the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. Absolutely massive. They're evacuating tens of thousands of people in 18 different cities around the nuclear power plant. So, and Russia's doing this. Russia is doing this. And people are asking the question, what has Russia done, or what are they planning to do where they're evacuating hundreds of thousands of people here? Why all of a sudden? So, what is going to happen here? Yeah, and remember here, if something tragic happens to this nuclear power plant, it will likely affect all of Europe or even the entire world. Because remember, that stuff goes, if there's a tragic incident there, an explosion or a nuclear meltdown, it goes up in the air and literally travels for thousands of miles. So I'll keep you up to date here. Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Meanwhile, Russia also doing a deadly attack over the capital city of Kyiv here today. Ukraine shooting down dozens of rockets, but not all of them. Yeah, Kyiv's mayor Vitaly Klitschko said on Telegram that Russia launched nearly 60 Iranian-made drones, 36 of which rained down on the capital. Ukraine shot down all of the rockets over Kyiv, but falling debris left damage. So apparently they're saying they got all of the rockets, but not all of the drones. Ukrainian Defense Ministry gave a slightly different figure, saying that 30 rockets targeted Kyiv specifically, and that 35 of 35 Russian drones were shot down. But this apartment building was damaged here in today's attack. So a little bit difficult to get the actual what happened here. There were actual casualties and deaths here in just today's attack. And ironically, the attacks came as Ukraine marks a day of remembrance for World War II and the defeat of Nazi Germany, saying, quote, "Unfortunately, evil has returned, although now it is another aggressor. The goal is the same, enslavement or destruction," Ukrainian President Zelensky said on Telegram. And note here that these attacks on the capital city of Kyiv, again, hit apartment buildings, and they're not military targets. And the casualties and the injuries, again, who's taking the suffering here? It's the average common Ukrainian people. It's literally a tragedy. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. If we do see a massive nuclear explosion or meltdown, it's going to be terrible and likely will also go over to the Russian people, as Russia's only a few hundred miles away. So I'll keep you up to date here. Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. If you haven't yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below and the bell icon so you don't miss out on any new videos here. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our YouTube channel. And thanks for liking and sharing these videos. Here's some videos you should watch next. President Biden may have to invoke the 14th Amendment, which is going to be insane. And what's happening here at our border in the next few days is going to be an absolute nightmare. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.